Good day, everyone. In today's update, we will take a closer look at the upcoming weather pattern, and we will also briefly review the major winter storm that is now coming to an end in the northeastern part of the country. We will also be examining the very active and very cold pattern that we expect to continue for the central and eastern United States. As I mentioned, this will be a concise report. I have been preparing some materials for our Prestige Weather community on our Discord server, which you can find linked in the description and the pinned comment below. I have been quite busy in there, and you can see the latest in the announcements section. We have been diligently tracking this snowstorm and other potential systems on the horizon, so we would be glad to have you join the conversation. Looking at this storm, it has certainly been a powerful one with a wide variety of impacts. We observed supercells just offshore of the Outer Banks, and some of those did, in fact, make their way onshore, resulting in some severe thunderstorms. We also saw heavy rainfall throughout many of the areas underneath, along with wintry precipitation across several different regions, which is still ongoing. The snowfall has been very heavy. In fact, for many areas throughout New York State, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, and portions of Connecticut, the only northeastern state that has largely been spared is Rhode Island, where only the far northern areas are seeing some accumulation. This has been a truly remarkable storm, so please feel free to send in your pictures. We always appreciate seeing any videos or photographs you may have captured. If you experienced this snowstorm, we would love to see your perspective in our Discord server. We are even holding a December photo contest, so we encourage you to submit your entries. Now, let us turn our attention to the latest model guidance, and we will begin with the European model. It is clear that by the very early morning hours of tomorrow, this storm will have concluded. By tomorrow afternoon, we will be left with very cold air in its wake. There will be some snow showers throughout the Rockies and the northern plains, as well as near the Great Lakes. For the most part, however, our snow system will have moved out of the region. We can see that as we look toward Thursday. We still see this northern jet stream extending down into the central states and moving eastward, with the southern jet stream merging into it. This will be our next winter storm to watch carefully. At the moment, it does not appear to be a particularly significant event. However, the fundamental elements are in place for this to potentially develop into something a bit more noteworthy. Of course, there is no guarantee that will happen, but the possibility exists as this system moves across the south. The European model is showing some snowfall for Kentucky, West Virginia, and Virginia for this Friday, which is just a few days from now. This is a system that certainly warrants our attention. It then moves up into parts of the mid-Atlantic, including Washington, D.C., Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. At present, it does not track up the coastline. There is still a chance that the system could trend farther up the coast, which would bring greater impacts to the mid-Atlantic and northeast. For now, however, we see this system moving directly offshore in a fairly benign manner. Then, almost immediately afterward, another potential system develops as the southern stream remains extremely active, while this colder air stays in place to the north. We see this second system moving through. This one does not currently appear to be a significant snow producer. However, it contains a great deal of moisture very close to very cold air, and if this system trends northward, we could be looking at a more impactful situation farther north than the model currently shows for Saturday into Sunday. That covers the 6th into the 7th of the month, so we have several systems to monitor. As we move forward, we see a number of different clipper systems moving through, and temperatures are expected to drop further as we approach the 7th, 8th, and 9th. That will be late this weekend and into early next week. And we do see these continued clipper systems moving through. Here is one example for the Midwest on Tuesday, the 9th. It moves into the Great Lakes, the Mid-Atlantic, and the Northeast, developing into a low-pressure system offshore. This is a fairly typical pattern, and it will occur as we move from the 9th into the 10th. That particular system does not appear to be a major one, but we see another right behind it for the Midwest on the 10th, moving into the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast. This next system does develop into a more substantial offshore low just off the coasts of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast for Thursday, the 11th. This would pose a potential snowfall threat for many of these areas. We can see moderate to heavy snowfall is being indicated on this model as of now. Then, the models currently indicate a shift in the overall weather pattern. We see the main jet stream building a ridge toward the east, and this begins to direct winter storms more toward the northern plains, the Midwest, and the Great Lakes. Much like we observed quite recently, we see one system pass by, and then a very significant western snow system develops toward the end of the forecast period. This pattern change is shown happening after the 10th on these models. So much of this is beyond 7 days out, and a good portion is beyond 10 days out. It is important to view this with some caution, but I have noticed this trend on the models. As we take a look at the GFS model, we see our current snowstorm moving out. A coastal system then develops that is much less impactful on this model for the 5th and 6th. And then we see another one moving in behind it. This system appears more substantial on this model. We see Missouri and Illinois receiving some snowfall on Sunday morning. As we move forward, states such as Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio begin to see activity by 1 a.m. On Monday, December 8th, we see West Virginia and Virginia getting some snowfall. Then, as we continue, we see parts of the mid-Atlantic receive some snowfall as this low develops offshore into a fairly substantial system. This is only 5 or 6 days away, in the medium range, so it is certainly a system worth monitoring. This will surely be the next system that becomes a main topic of discussion, not only here on our channel but within our Discord community. Now, as we continue on, we see that system moving out. We begin to see that same trend of clipper systems, with these systems moving from the Midwest around the 10th into the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley, and then eventually impacting the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. This presents a very similar setup to the European model, with even another system moving through, bringing some Mid-Atlantic and Northeast snowfall again around the 12th and 13th. So once again, there are numerous opportunities for snowfall. However, similar to the European model, we see this pattern shift significantly after the 12th, turning into a warmer in the east and colder in the west pattern. So overall, precipitation on the European model does begin to increase out west. We have seen a significant increase there, and we continue to see this southern stream moving across the southeastern states, which brings a great deal of precipitation there as well. The temperature anomalies reflect that, with a great deal of activity out west and also for the southeast. Total snowfall on the European model is higher out west than in previous model runs because of that increase in activity. We also see a considerable amount for the northern plains, upper Midwest, Great Lakes, and Ohio Valley, with more on the way for the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. The GFS model seems to be in agreement. The West shows an increase in activity, and we still see the plains, Midwest, and Great Lakes experiencing some activity. But the more significant story is the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, where both of these models are forecasting very significant snowfall totals, even after our current snow system that is happening right now. Looking at the temperature pattern, we do see colder air moving into the east 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and perhaps a 4th time. Then we do warm up right after the 12th on this model. It appears that toward the end of the forecast period, there is another major Arctic blast on the way toward the east. This is not particularly relevant at this time because it is 360 hours out. On the GFS model, we see 1 major cool down, 2 major cool downs, 3 major cool downs, and then almost a 4th, very minor one. And then we do warm up after the 12th, just like the European model. So, both of those models are in agreement on this point. I will say the ensemble guidance is showing good consistency. This is for the 7th through the 17th. It is still very warm in the west and very cold in the east. This is the European ensemble model. And then we have the GFS ensemble model, which shows the same pattern, warmer out west and colder in the east. This is excellent agreement between these ensemble models, both for the 7th through 17th or the 8th through 18th timeframe. So, there is good agreement that the long-range outlook continues to look quite favorable as we approach and pass the midway point of the month. Now again, I do apologize for keeping today's update brief. I have had a very busy day preparing other materials, which is why this update is coming to you a bit later than usual. I hope you found this information helpful. If you have not already, we invite you to subscribe, as we upload a new video every single day. You can also select the bell icon to receive daily notifications, so you never miss one. Please do like the video if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment down below. I look forward to speaking with you all again in the next video.